Hello everyone and welcome on this video lecture. Now let's proceed further in this lecture, and in this lecture we will talk about the magnetic effect of current. Now this is in relation with the earlier learned topic related to charge, electrostatic and all that. Now we started with this electrostatic of the 12th chapter with the charge, and we said this charge is producing a field called electric field, and we understood various type of charge distribution and their electric field in this space. Then we moved toward this from this stationary charge we started to move this charge. So when this charge starts moving, so that becomes current. And then we talked about current and electricity, how this current is being used, where this current goes, how much that current is, and all that. Now that's a static part of the charge. This is the kinetic part of the charge. So whenever the charge is stationary, it's electric field. However, when the charge is moving, let's say this is moving on a wire like this, so that's called current, moving charge. So this current also produces a field surrounding to it. That's a new field, and that new field is called magnetic field. Magnetic field. So very similar to that electric field. Electric field is coming because of stationary charge, whereas the magnetic field is caused due to moving charge, or you can say current. So current has in its surrounding an effect or an influence, that's a field, which field is known as magnetic field. And this magnetic field is indicated as a B. It's a vector quantity, so B vector. So that's a vector quantity, and it will be denoted by B later, very similar to that electrostatic field. Now our purpose will be to understand this magnetic field, to find out this magnetic field because of various current distributions, and then see how one magnetic field interact with the another magnetic field. So all those stuffs that we did in electrostatic for the charge, we are going to do for the current over here. Or this current is basically moving charge. So it's like this static part of the charge, and this is a dynamic part of the charge, and we are looking for the motion related stuff of the charge. Now this magnetic field is a vector quantity, as you can see from this arrow, and its unit of measurement is Tesla. So we will be writing by capital T, T for Tesla. So that's the SI unit, and this 1 Tesla is also equal to 1 Weber per meter square. So sometimes you will find Weber per meter square will be given to us. Here WB is indicating Weber. Okay, so this is the unit, and this is a vector quantity. So basic stuff here we have understood, and now we're moving towards finding the magnetic field because of various charge distribution. Now in order to find the magnetic field because of various current distribution or moving charge distributions, we need to have some method. So there are two methods to find out the magnetic field due to moving charge or current. The first one I have listed over here, that's called Biot-Savart Law. So this Biot-Savart Law is going to tell us how we will be able to find the magnetic field because of current carrying wire or moving charge. As per this Biot-Savart Law, we need to have a current carrying wire. So let's say this black color is a current carrying wire, and current is moving in this manner. So I current is moving on this. We know this current moves along the wire, and we need to find this field at point P. Let's say this point P we have located over here. At this point P we need to find the field value. So what we are going to do, we are going to consider a small element along that length of the wire, and let's say this is very small element that we have taken, and this length element will be called as DL. L for length and D for differential, so that's a differential length. And we will be giving this length as a direction as well, and that direction will be in the direction of the current, that current flows. So we can place an arrow in the direction of current, so that will become a vector. So we will call it as a vector. So we will be treating this length as a vector. So we need to choose a differential length element vector on the current carrying wire. So let me write it down, this DL vector. So we need to have this DL vector, and this DL vector is going to be read as a differential or a small, you can say in simple language, differential length element vector. Length element vector. Sometimes we multiply this I with dl, so it becomes ideal vector. So this ideal vector can be said as a current element or differential current element vector. Anyway, so this is the term that we are going to use, which is important for us. Then we will be choosing a point P where we need to find the field. That point P is, let's say, over here. So from this differential element, because this is a very small element, so that means it will be treated like a point. So from that point we are going to join the point P, which we are at which place we are interested to find the magnetic field, and this element or this vector will be treated as R vector. R is the position vector of the point from the differential element where we are interested in finding out the magnetic field. So that's going to be R vector. So this is another term that we are going to use in this Biot-Savart law and to find the magnetic field. And then because of this differential element, a small element, there will be some magnetic field existing at the point P. Let's say that magnetic field is dB vector. B vector is the magnetic field, dB is a differential. So we are working for the differential element. So basically Biot-Savart law will let us know the magnetic field because of a differential current element of the wire. And once we got the differential equation, then we have some mathematical knowledge. By using that mathematical knowledge, we will be integrating this to find out the total magnetic field. So purpose is to find first what this dB is. Once we are able to find this dB vector, then we will go for the integration, and this integration will lead to give us magnetic field in nutshell. And this integration has to be performed from where to where the current element runs. So that integration has to be done. And keeping in mind this is a vector quantity, so vector integration we will be performing. Okay, let's proceed further and try to write what the Biot-Savart law is. So Biot-Savart law simply says this magnetic field dB is given by this following expression. So let me write this dB as per the Biot-Savart law. It comes out to be this is equal to, there going to be a constant coming in, so I'm writing the constant is mu naught upon 4 pi, that's a constant, and it will be I, the current that moves in the wire, in bracket the dl vector, that vector we have written down or drawn, so that's dl differential length element vector cross r vector that we have understood what it is indicating, divided by magnitude of r cube. So this formula is given by Biot-Savart and it's known as Biot-Savart law, and it will let us know the magnetic field at any point because of any differential current element of the wire. So what are the quantities involving over here? We can see this dB is a differential magnetic field. It carries a magnitude as well as direction. Mu naught upon 4 pi, this is a constant. So this mu naught upon 4 pi is a constant. We will talk about it. It's just like in electrostatic we had a 1 upon 4 pi epsilon naught. So here it's mu naught upon 4 pi. I is the current. You can see if I becomes 0, there will be no magnetic field existing. That means magnetic field is caused by the current. Moreover, this dl we have understood, r we have understood, cross product we know, and then r cube is going to be the cube of the magnitude of location or the displacement or the position of point P from the differential element of that wire. Making sense? So this is something very important for us. We need to learn this. We need to understand how to use it, how to find the magnitude, how to find the direction. So let's talk about out of this how we can get the magnitude. So if we need to find the magnitude of magnetic field, that means we are interested in dB. Now mu naught will remain the same, 4 pi will remain the same because these are the constant. Mu naught upon 4 pi. I will be there. You need to go for the cross product of this, and when you do the cross product, you are going to get at a dl into r into sine theta, where theta is going to be angle between them, divided by r cube. which can be simplified to this. That means magnitude of differential magnetic field is going to be equal to mu naught I dl sin theta divided by 4 pi into r square. So that's become a formula for finding the magnetic field's magnitude. For finding the magnetic field's magnitude in case of differential element method. So this will give us the magnitude. Now here one more term has come into play. Let's see what this is and how we are going to find that. The point is written here is a theta. So theta is going to be angle. In cross product we know this theta is the angle between the two vectors dl vector and r vector. Dl vector is pointing like this, r vector is pointing like this, so you are going to measure this angle, the angle that is being formed over here. So this angle will be known as angle theta. So we need to find this theta, which is going to be variable in the integration, r which will be variable in normal conditions, and dl is a variable, I is going to be constant, mu naught 4 pi is going to be constant. So this becomes a differential equation which has theta variable, or which may have theta variable, r variable, dl variable. So there are going to be a lot of variables involved. Moreover, this is not the magnetic field in nutshell. This is the differential magnetic field having this is simply the magnitude of differential magnetic field. We need to count the direction as well, right? And using that direction, then we will be doing this integration to find out the total magnetic field. So ultimately we need to perform this integration. So calculation will be a little bit involving mathematics, but we will be following that. Making sense? I is a current, we know that. Now let me tell you something about direction. Once we know what the magnitude is, we need to know the direction. And after knowing the direction of dB, then we can go for the integration, because integration requires both magnitude as well as direction. I'm repeating this statement because we should not say that dB integration should be B. That may not be true. So simply dB will not give you the B magnitude. What is going to give us? Integration of the vector quantity will give us the complete value, not the integration of the scalar quantity. That means this magnitude, sum of the magnitude may not be the total magnitude. That's a property of vector, you might be knowing, right? So that has to be kept in mind. Okay, direction of dB is decided by these are the positive constant. Mu naught 4 pi is a positive constant, I is a constant positive, r is going to be positive. So dl cross r is going to give us the direction. So direction given by cross product, and in cross product dl cross r. And we know how to get the direction of a cross product. When we learn this cross product, you know, we use the right hand rule. We say it's going to be perpendicular to dl, perpendicular to r. So it will be basically perpendicular to the plane of dl and r. If we try to write that direction over here, so this is dl and this is r, both are in the plane of the board that you can see, this white board. So this direction of dB must be perpendicular to this white board. That means it should be either inside or into the plane, or it will be outward the plane. So first symbol is for outward the plane and second symbol is for into the plane. So either of the two options will be there. Then out of the two options, which option has to be opted? You use the right hand rule. Place your stretched palms finger of right hand in the direction of first vector, and then try to curl them towards the second vector. If you do this exercise, then you'll find the thumb will be pointing inwards, hence inwards will become the direction. Then we can say the magnetic field at point P, because of this particular situation which is shown over here, is going to be into the plane. So we will show like this. Now if this current carrying wire remains in the plane of whiteboard, then you will find R will also be in the plane of whiteboard. If we are choosing the point P in the plane itself, then you will find the magnetic field will always be inwards in this zone. So that means direction will become constant. Once direction is fixed, then we can say addition of magnitude is the total magnitude. If direction is variable, then addition of magnitude is not the total magnitude of any vector quantity. Making sense? So for this particular picture, field came out to be into the plane. So we read it as into the plane or going inside the plane, and it is shown by cross and encircle. You know that. So point is the direction due to this Biot-Savart law is decided as cross product of two quantities, which is dl and r, that we have understood. So you have understood a lot more point regarding this, and here one point remained is this constant. So the value of this constant you can learn and remember for future calculation. So this mu naught by 4 pi, we can replace this by a k as well, just to make this expression seems simpler. Mu naught by 4 pi is basically 10 raised to power minus 7. So which is Weber per ampere meter. So if you place as a Weber per ampere meter, ampere will get cancelled out. 1 meter, you'll find the downside is going to be meter, so meter square, yes. Or you can also write in terms of Tesla, because they are related like this. So or you can simply write as this mu naught is equal to 4 pi into 10 raised to power minus 7 in proper SI unit. This mu naught is called permeability of free space. It is very similar to the epsilon naught. So that's called permeability of free space. We will talk about it. So in this slide, what we have understood, let me quickly re-explain. Because of static charge, there is an electric field. Because of moving charge, there is a magnetic field. And magnetic field calculation is by two methods. One method is the Biot-Savart law, which is this expression. Out of this expression, we need to find what the magnitude is, what is the direction, right? Here is the constant involved is mu naught upon 4 pi, which is a permeability. Its value is 10 raised to power minus 7. So finally, we got this as a Biot-Savart law, and which says dB is equal to mu naught upon 4 pi I dl vector cross r cap divided by r square. Note over here in downside I have written r square, not r cube, because in the numerator I have written r cap, because in mathematics or vector algebra, you know this r cap into r is equal to r vector. So if I place r vector upside, then I need to write r cube downside. Or if I'm placing r cap upside, then we will be writing r square downside, because r cap is simply direction, it doesn't carry magnitude. Okay, so that has to be kept in mind. So by using this, we can change the expression appearance in this case, right? Okay, and then we talked about this mu naught upon 4 pi. This mu naught upon 4 pi is 10 raised to power minus 7, and this mu naught is known as permeability of free space or vacuum, That means this formula or this magnetic field depends on the medium. So this mu naught depends on the medium, very similar to the epsilon naught. So if there's a medium given to us, so we will be replacing this mu naught with mu. So mu will be known as permeability of medium. So if there is a medium available, so we will be replacing this mu naught by mu, and the relation will go very similar to that. Mu naught will be basically mu will be mu naught into mu r. So this mu naught is going to be permeability of free space. Mu r is going to be known as the relative permeability. So this expression is quite important. This mu r, if the mu r is given to us, we can find out what the value of mu is going to be. That means permeability of medium, and we will be replacing this simply by that later. So mu r over here is relative permeability. We will talk about this even more in detail later on when we will talk about the magnetic properties of matter. So here we need to simply remember that this formula that we have understood due to Biot-Savart law, or by any method, if we are trying to find the magnetic field, it will depend on the medium, and if we change the medium, it will change. And how the change will occur, this is how we can change. This mu naught will be replaced by mu, and which can be calculated by using relative permeability, which will be known to us. Fine. Now we will be using this expression, which is Biot-Savart's law, and to find out the magnetic field because of various current distributions. So let's just start with an example and try to use this and try to basically learn how to use this. So if we are able to write its magnitude, if we are able to write its direction, then we can easily go for integration. So steps would be, first we will be taking a differential element in that distribution of current and will be writing this dB, that's magnitude. So magnitude in this case, or otherwise we know it's going to be mu naught I dl sine theta divided by 4 pi r square. So this is how we will write the magnitude at the point where the magnetic field has to be calculated. Then second objective would be to find the direction of this field. So we will decide where the direction is. Direction we'll be deciding based on this dl cross r cap. Once we have a certain direction, then we need to see whether the direction is constant or changing. So if the direction is constant, then we can write the magnetic field will be equal to integration simply dV. This will be only if direction of dV, direction of magnetic field is constant and is not changing, that means it remains same at all the points, or due to all the elements rather. Otherwise we are not going to use this. What we are going to use this, B vector is going to be integration dB vector. That's true always. That's true always, or always true. Keeping in mind. So that's a small point you need to keep in mind. Well, this becomes easier for us, but this has a condition, and this is in general, so we can use this anytime. Now let's take an example that will become formula for us as well. So we will talk about this as an example that says the magnetic field at the center of current carrying circular loop. So we have this current carrying circular loop having current I, and let's say its radius is also known to us. Its radius is A. So I'm writing over here that its radius is A, is equal to A, and we need to find magnetic field at this point O, so that's a central point. So what the idea is very simple. We need to take a differential element on this current carrying wire anywhere. So let's take a differential element over here. You can take that differential element anywhere. Since it's going to be very small, so it will be linear, and it has a direction in the direction of current, so that's a direction in the current, and that's differential element is known as dl. So we have assigned, or we have taken a dl differential element over here. Now what we are going to do, we are going to join this dl with the point of interest. So we are going to join this like this. That's going to be, we have like r vector. So this r vector is basically the location or the position of the point where we are interested in finding the magnetic field because of the current element, and we are interested at the center point, hence we are joining it to the center. Now here some if you look at the first glance, then you might feel like this r vector is generally drawn from origin to outwards, but it's not from origin. Its definition, this r vector is defined as the position of the point from at a point where we are interested in finding a magnetic field, starting from the differential element. So for this r, this differential element is the reference, and that's why we are not taking this this radius of this loop as r, rather we are taking it as a. Making sense? So this r should not be confused with the radius, rather it's a position of the point where we are interested in getting the magnetic field. So these two things we can think of. Moreover, we can think of whatever this r is you are measuring is simply the radius, nothing than that, because we are measuring at the center, and this r is a, and you'll find this r will remain the constant no matter where you take the element. So this r is going to behave like a constant because it's a. One thing clear. Moreover, we need to know theta, the angle between two vectors. One is dl vector, another is r vector. You see this dl vector is a tangential and this r vector is a radial, and whenever there is tangential and radial they are coming, so that makes 90 degree. So you'll find theta is going to be 90 degree. Moreover, this theta is 90 degree not only at this point but for all the elements. No matter where we take the elements, at all location you'll find this theta will remain 90 with the radius or r vector. So theta is also coming constant, r is also coming constant as a. And then we can write this Biot-Savart expression. As per the Biot-Savart expression, dB magnitude used to be equal to mu naught I dl sin theta upon 4 pi r square. So that's the magnitude we are talking about. So this is a differential magnitude of magnetic field at point O. So let's settle down what this magnitude is going to be. Here is a mu naught constant, I will remain there, 4 pi will remain there, and the dl will be there. Sin theta will become sin 90 because theta is known to us. In place of r we can write a, so that's a square. So it gets simplified, it becomes mu naught I dl sin 90 is 1 divided by 4 pi a square. So that's expression for magnitude. Now, as we have discussed, we will be finding the total magnitude by using the vectors as well or directions as well. So let's ascertain the direction. Now this is dl, this is r, and they are lying in this plane of this whiteboard. So the magnetic field at O point must be perpendicular to this whiteboard or screen that you are watching in, and then perpendicular to this screen is going to be either outwards or inwards. Then you will be using right hand rule. The first vector is this, so place finger in this direction, curl in this direction towards r. So you'll find your thumb will be pointing inwards. So as thumb goes inwards, so you will say the magnetic field at point O is going to be into the plane. That's a magnetic field, and that's the direction of the magnetic field because of this dl. But if you take this dl all along this complete current carrying wire, then at all locations you will find the b into the plane. So that means this will be the final direction of the magnetic field, and that direction is because of all the elements. So since the direction remains same, hence we can say total magnetic field will be sum of their magnitudes. So since we write like this, b vector is integration db vector. Here we can say that this is also going to be equal to b vector, b magnitude is equal to db magnitude. Mind it, this second part comes only if the direction remains same. So as direction of b is into the plane for all points, into the plane for all differential elements, all dl vectors. So if for all dl vectors it is in the same direction, then we can use this thing. And once we are able to use this thing, it becomes quite easier. So we can come from here directly and we write what the b is going to be. Is going to be integration db, and what the integration db means, you can say it's going to be mu naught I dl divided by 4 pi a square. Now in this expression you can find several quantities to be constant, like mu naught is a constant, I is a constant, 4 pi a square, these are all a constant. Integration has to be performed over dl alone. Now this dl is not a vector, it's a scalar number, right? So dl vector is a vector, this is basically a magnitude, you can say. And if we integrate this, so integration has to be on the complete loop. So you can say this complete loop, that means this loop integration has to be performed, closed integration. And if we add all these dl's together, so that will become the perimeter or circumference of this circular coil. So it becomes mu naught I divided by 4 pi a square into 2 pi into a. And that will give you a final result, which is coming as mu naught I, and 2 pi cancelled out, a cancelling out, so it becomes twice a. And the direction we have already talked about, that's into the plane. So we got to know b came out to be equal to mu naught I upon twice a, that is the magnetic field because of current carrying circular loop in a plane, and its direction is ascertained inwards. right? If we change the direction of current, then it will come outwards, you can see from this. So right hand rule can also be used in this way, that you naturally curl your these right hand fingers in the direction of current. Thumb will let us know what the direction is, right? Or you can remember, if the current is moving in this way, that is clockwise, then it's inside. If the current is anti-clockwise, then it's outside. So this is an example where you need to learn how we have used this mathematics or that formula to find the magnetic field. In the upcoming videos, we will be finding more magnetic fields because of various current distributions. So make your notes, try to understand this Biot-Savart law once and for all. If you have any doubt, you can ask. Thank you for watching. Have a great time.